Okay. Hi, I'm Congresswoman Sewell, and I'm so excited to be here at Pleasant Grove Community Center to kick off my Congress in Your Community tour. Every year I go through all 13 counties that make up Alabama's 7th Congressional District. Today is special because due to redistricting, I now have the city of Pleasant Grove in my district, as well as the city of Hueytown now. We'll be visiting them later. But you know, we do this tour because we think it's really important that we connect with our constituency. I can't represent people that I don't know, and this meeting was an opportunity for them to meet me, to meet the staff, and to understand what federal needs that we deal with in our office. I think that sometimes constituents don't know when to call the congressperson or the city council person, but you know, being able to talk with my constituents and tell them the kinds of casework that we do, everything from Social Security and disability to tours of the Capitol and the White House. And so it's an honor for me to represent my home district. I grew up in this district. I know what's possible in this district with resources and opportunity. And no matter who's in the White House, my job is the same, and that is to fight for Alabama's 7th Congressional District and to do my very best to provide more resources and better opportunities to the great people that I represent. This Congress, since coming to Congress, my mission has always stayed the same. I think that there is a perception now, new year, new Congress, new challenges, frankly. I look forward to working with the Republicans when and where I can, but fighting back when our shared values are threatened. And the freeze that occurred earlier this week, the freeze on all federal funding without guidance as to what was meant, was a major catastrophe. I think that we got more calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from people really quite concerned that the federal assistance that they rely on would not be there. And so I worked with my other colleagues, and we sent letters, we made phone calls, and we really did put pressure on this administration to either reverse course or at least tell us exactly what they meant by a freeze of all federal funding. What happened ultimately was a rescission of that memo that would freeze all federal funding. Now I see that as a temporary win, as a winning a battle, but not the war against critical, vital federal funding being lost by my constituents. And so we stand ready to be ever vigilant, to continue to fight for the Head Start program, the domestic violence, homeless shelters, Meals on Wheels. I mean, when you think about the breadth of federal funding that has already been appropriated by the Congress, it's not only morally wrong, it's actually illegal. And we saw a federal court say so. Federal court, before the memo was rescinded, a federal court issued an injunction stopping this administration from implementing the memo until further guidance was given. And so the combination, I think, of the outcry of ordinary Americans really very much concerned about critical federal funding that they rely on. And that's everything from SNAP benefits to Medicare and Medicaid to helping our seniors to really important programs, social programs like Head Start and the TRIO program. And so it had a dramatic effect. And I think that what my constituents are looking for me is to continue to push back where I need to push back and to work with this administration where and when I can. And I will continue to do that. But I have to tell you, we live in very uncertain times, and I think it's that uncertainty that has caused so much angst. Today at the Pleasant Grove Town Hall, I had a lot of federal employees come up to me, worried about their jobs. There is an executive order to limit and to take away certain federal jobs, and there's an edict out there to get folks to retire early or to take a buyout, and people are really scared. And so I think it's my job to try to get the clarification we need and to push back on things that are unconstitutional or illegal, like the executive order doing away with birthright citizenship, which is part of our Constitution. And so that executive order is being challenged in federal court for unconstitutionality. But look, I think that with every new administration and every new Congress, there's always uncertainty. I think that what has made this one particularly challenging is the fact that we're only 10 days in, and we've had hundreds of executive orders, and trying to keep up with what's coming out of the White House, and then trying to inform your constituents on how it affects them has been our challenge. And we're ready for the challenge. We're working through the issues that we are being confronted with, and we're pushing back on the challenges that affect or are illegal and affect the serious, critical federal funding that Congress has already appropriated. I think we have to remind the President that there are three co-equal branches of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative branch. As a member of the legislative branch, we in Congress have appropriated funds and passed budgets that appropriate these funds, and the President can't unilaterally take that away. I'll open it up for questions.
Can you, your reaction to the plane crash last night and the helicopter, and then also, can you react to the President? Can you react to President Trump saying last night's plane crash could have been caused by DEI hiring?
Well, first let me just say that my heart goes out to the families that lost their loved ones last night due to the crash. I want to thank our first responders and all the people who've been working through the night with respect to this. It's a tragedy that we in the federal government need to respond to. I know that the National Transportation Safety Board will conduct the investigation, so at this time I don't think that we know what actually happened, but I think that our response as a nation has to be one to not only rally behind the family members that lost their loved ones, but to also get to the bottom of why this occurred, and to be able to answer some of those questions that people still have. So do know that my heart aches for those who lost their family members in last night's crash, and I do believe that working with the federal government, that we will get to the bottom of what happened.
Any comment on Trump's DEI hiring?
Listen, I think that diversity has been the strength of America. I think that to suggest that somehow that a plane could crash because they hired people who I really don't want to respond to be honest with you. I just think that I think it's ridiculous to assume that it had anything to do with DEI. I think that the whole premise that somehow people are unqualified if they are people of color or they are different from us is actually one that's discriminatory. And so I think that we'll see a lot of lawsuits be filed with respect to the President's executive order against DEI. I think about the fact that this country has, that we in this country have grown through perseverance and through the abilities of all. You want the very best team on the field, and the very best team on the field is not always a team that's all white or all male. And so our diversity in this country has always been our strength. And I think about myself. I mean, I wasn't the first smart kid from Selma, Alabama, but I was the first smart black kid from Selma, Alabama to get an opportunity to go to Princeton and Oxford. And believe me, the grades that I achieved were not grades given to me, but rather earned. And I think that, I hope that this nation, this whole idea of a woke culture, what does that mean? I think that we should be pushing back on every attempt to lessen the value of all Americans. I believe that all of us should have an equal opportunity to reach our God-given potential, and I'll continue to fight for that.
Do you have any more questions about today's events in Pleasant Grove and Hueytown?
What were the main concerns you heard today from the citizens of Pleasant Grove?
So the biggest concerns that I heard were just uncertainty and fear about this new administration's multitude of executive orders and what that will mean for the federal funding that people rely on. So we heard from veterans about concerns about their veteran benefits. I heard concerns about our immigrant population, and we addressed the issue of birthright citizenship being taken away as being unconstitutional, and trying to allay the fears of my constituents with respect to that has been important as well. So I think that it was a warm welcome. The place was packed. It was great to see the citizens of Pleasant Grove welcome our office and be receptive to us helping them in whatever way we can. And so the message I wanted to deliver was that we stand ready to help the citizens of Pleasant Grove and to welcome them to our district. I think you all know that through redistricting, my district changed slightly in Jefferson County, and I now have acquired the city of Hueytown, the city of Pleasant Grove, and so more of Jefferson County, and I welcome the opportunity to roll up my sleeves and to continue to fight for the folks back home.
Bouncing off what you just said about families that are, concerned about, especially the heavy presence of ICE in many communities, and especially here in Birmingham. What do you have to say to like families that are just kind of living in fear and are scared?
I think that today we saw a lot of my constituents just being very, very fearful of the uncertain times that we're living in. And I want to assure people that that every effort will be made to make sure that the executive orders that are followed are legal, that they meet constitutional muster, and that there are those of us who will continue to fight for our shared values and push back on illegal, unconstitutional executive orders. And so I know that many families are living in fear, especially our immigrant families, and I just want to assure them that we know in Congress that we must take up comprehensive immigration reform. No doubt there are challenges at the border, and I think that there are ways to do that in ways that don't necessarily stoke fear in people. And so I'll continue to work with my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans. We do need comprehensive immigration reform in this country, but I don't think the way to get it is through fear. So I know that there's an executive order that relates to government employees, and there is an effort afoot to get government employees buyouts. And I want folks to know that I'm a federal employee. I think the premise behind that executive order is a false one. I believe that federal employees do work. I think the underlying tone of that is as if federal employees don't work or don't add value. And I think that none of us want waste, fraud, and abuse. None of us want taxpayer dollars to go to people who are not working. But the vast majority of federal employees are critical to the day in and day out vital services that Americans depend upon and are doing their job. And so, while in the forum, no one asked that question, I got plenty of folks coming up to me after the town hall meeting who were federal employees quite concerned about their jobs, and rightfully so. So we'll continue to push back on those efforts. I believe that the vast majority of federal employees, I being one of them, my team, work incredibly hard at their jobs and provide critical services to the American people.
Thank you.
Do you know what's happening in Birmingham? Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today on Android, iPhone, and iPad for free. Get info on everything you need to know about local news, events, businesses, restaurants, and more. Visit our website, what'shappeningbham.com, or follow us on social media @happeningbham for more information. Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today, your source for everything Birmingham.